Scanning for audio.
Welcome once again to a Tin Dog podcast. Now, as you know, Dark Eyes 4 is well on its way to arrival. As I record this, we're just days away from its release. And, as always, I like to do a re-listen to the previous Dark Eyes, because this is going to be the last Dark Eyes story. Paul McGann at his best. Now, these mini-series kind of came into being when Tom Baker was given the go-ahead, when Tom Baker arrived. The entire range had been basically every one of the classic Doctors, being 5, 6, 7 and 8, used to get sort of 3 releases a year. Tom arrives, he gets given his own spin-off series, then you end up with trilogies, and then it gets a bit messy. Charlotte Pollard's got her own spin-off series, everyone else is kind of expanding the range. When Nick Briggs talks about all of the stories that they do at Big Finish, we end up in an exciting world of, let's face it, the introduction lasts longer than the podcast sometimes. So, here we are in Dark Eyes 3, not Dark Eyes 4, which is due, as I said, in just a few days' time. Dark Eyes 3. It's got the Master on the front, the superior Master as far as I'm concerned, played by Alex McQueen. The 8th Doctor, played by the marvellous Paul McGann. Yes, I've got no complaints because he's just great. You've got Molly, you've got Liv Chenka. It's the usual suspects back. Now, you've also got, not the Daleks. Not quite yet. The universe exists in flux at this point. Yes, people of Gallifrey see that there's some sort of time war coming against a universal monster, a massive villain, a creature that's coming to get you. Now, the Eminence, because that's who we're talking about, is someone that frightens even the Daleks. They are the most perfect Doctor Who villain for TV. Never mind audio. Because on TV, you could actually see the visual effects evolving through time. All you really need is glowing eyes and a bit of grey makeup, and you've got someone who is a possessed zombie. The Eminence itself is a super intelligent form of gas that possesses the dead with, and I'm using the rabbit ears again, the breath of forever. So the Eminence are this possessing gas with its army of zombies, and all you need on audio is a nice voiceover. These would be brilliant on TV because you don't need to do too much makeup, a bit of visual trickery around the eyes, and you're done. And when you're listening to the 4th Doctor take on the Eminence, you've got the 70s special effects in your eyes. Again, when old Sixie takes them on, you've got something a little bit more up-to-date, but still BBC clunky in your head. Big Finish are that good at creating audio worlds that the effects you see in your mind's eye are actually from the time, or perhaps that's just my limited imagination. Because Paul McGann's Doctor lives, as far as I'm concerned, in the here and now, and they are fabulous CGI monsters. So you've got that. You've got Time Lord Time Conspiracy just like the other ones, but you've got the Master who's almost but not quite gone rogue. And these, over the next few days, will be the stories that we deal with. So what have we got with story number 1? Because that's what I'm talking about this time. Story number 1 is called The Death of Hope, which is kind of cool. Of course, there is a character in it called Hope, which gives the game away a little bit on that one when you hear in the first few minutes. Now, there used to be a thing called an info dump, where someone in a Doctor Who story would turn up, say a newsreader on the TV, and they would tell the audience, i.e. you, exactly what was going on. Or possibly they would tell you what they thought was going on from a slightly skewed point of view. They're the slightly cleverer versions of the info dump, where the audience know more facts and they can read between the lines. Those sort of things have been dealt with, especially in the early Big Finishes. But since the TV series came back, Big Finish has not been dumbed down. Dumbed down is the wrong term. It's been carefuler about how it uses narrative. some of the darkness that was hinted at and gone into in the early stories, because let's face it, Doctor Who wasn't coming back, is now softened slightly. That does not mean that this is a wonderful, fluffy story. The McGanns have been the darkest of all of the tales since his return to the role. Episode 1 of this 4-disc set, well, 5-disc set if you count the extras, is, well, it's one massive info dump. The Doctor's in it, don't get me wrong. There's some wonderful acting from McGann in episode 1, but the primary cast is the Master, building up the story of what he's doing. He's using Molly and his companion, Sally Armstrong, and it's absolutely fantastic to see the Master with a companion here. And they are manipulating events on the outskirts of the war against the Infinite. It's just glorious, because the Doctor's modus operandi is so similar to the Master's one when they're not in the same room as each other as to be slightly worrying. These people just rock. There isn't a bad performance in the room. You know, there's just something great about listening to episode 1. The setup, hearing the Master without the Doctor just works. Yes, the Doctor's watching everything on reports and recordings and Matrix recreations, but you've basically got a story with the Master. You've got a wonderful setup. You've got Narvin desperately trying to keep things under control. And that is where I'm going to leave this review, because I don't want to give you spoilers if you haven't heard this story. But so far, Dark Eyes 3, absolutely fantastic. Bring it on, because next time we're going to spend some quality time with some Scorpion aliens and Liv Chenka. So until next time, be seeing you.
Coming soon from Big Finish Productions. Doctor Who, Dark Eyes 3.
My name is Hope Gardner, Colony Row 351. We need help.
The Infinite Warriors are closing in. You saved us before. Bring the lady with the dark eyes. Bring Molly O'Sullivan. You can save us all.
Lord Jowder, human is here.
You are strong-arm.
Sally Armstrong. You know my interest. The humans.
Ramosans are not part of this war. Maybe I speak to Eminence. So when it wins this war, it will be a friend to Ramosa.
Ah, Liv, the fellow you let in, the Doctor.
He's gone, Professor.
Good. A deluded lunatic.
What did he say?
That my research was a danger to the future.
Sometimes the best way to fight a fire is to make sure it doesn't get started. I'm taking away your matches.
Your mind opens, Doctor. We will take it completely.
Sounds like one of your typical schemes.
Oh, on the contrary. This is my master plan. Every eventuality has been considered.
You shall all fall to the might of the Infinite. Die!
You need to order your people back into the jungle. Hide.
We stand and fight. Run, warm blood, before I spill it.
We love stories.
You've been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast, available on RSS, iTunes, Stitcher, Audio Boom and Tumblr. Doctor Who and its associated works are copyright of the BBC. No infringement is intended. You can contact the show, donate, buy merchandise or find out more about my other projects by visiting the Tin Dog Podcast homepage and clicking on the links. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.